What if you could build a library that held every single book ever written? Kind of like a digital library of Alexandria for our time. Well, that's pretty much the dream behind this project called Anna's Archive. It is, without a doubt, one of the most ambitious preservation projects on the internet today. But, and this is a big but, this amazing digital library, it's built on a foundation with a really dangerous crack hiding right in plain sight.
I mean, just listen to their mission. It's breathtakingly ambitious. They want to catalog all the books in existence. And we're not just talking about, your favorite novels. We're talking scientific papers, those crazy expensive textbooks, magazines, basically a universal backup of all human knowledge made accessible to anyone, anywhere on the planet.
And you know what? They're actually making some incredible progress. The archive already indexes over 52.8 million books. To put that into perspective for you, a recent study found that the number of texts it distributes every day is about 10 times that of the entire New York Public Library system. Yeah, you heard that right. And the sheer size of the collection itself, well, that's just as staggering.
So when you add it all up, all those books and academic papers, you're looking at over 1.1 petabytes of data. That's more than 1,000 terabytes. It's a colossal amount of information. And the whole thing is designed to be spread far and wide so that this digital library becomes, in theory, impossible to ever truly shut down.
Okay, so let's get into the dream behind all this. This idea of universal access. It's really what drives the entire project. But to even try to achieve that dream, Anna's Archive has to operate in a pretty controversial space. It's part of a world known as shadow libraries.
So what's a shadow library? Well, think of them as these huge online collections of texts that are just really hard to get your hands on otherwise. We're talking about that critical academic research paper that's locked behind a $100 paywall, or textbooks that students just can't afford, or even books that have been out of print for decades. To make all this information available, these libraries have to operate in let's call it a legal gray area. And as you can imagine, that puts them directly in the crosshairs of publishers and governments.
And that really gets to the core motivation here, this guiding philosophy that information wants to be free. You see, projects like Anna's Archive, they don't just exist to, share files around. They see themselves as a direct response to what they'd call the corporate control of knowledge. They're basically arguing that access to information isn't a privilege. It should be a fundamental human right.
And the way Anna's Archive was created, it happened incredibly fast. It was born directly out of this high-stakes game of cat and mouse. So here's how it went down. In the fall of 2022, a preservation project managed to back up the entirety of Z Library, another one of these massive shadow libraries. Just 2 months later, boom, U.S. law enforcement seizes Z Library's domains. Almost immediately, literally in response, a member of that backup team launches Anna's Archive to fill the void. The goal was simple: make sure that incredible collection of knowledge wouldn't be lost.
And this right here, this brings us to the central conflict, what you could call the pirate's dilemma. It's this massive fight where the really noble goal of free information just smashes head-on into intellectual property rights and, the livelihoods of the authors and publishers who create this stuff.
And look, the arguments on both sides are really compelling. On one hand, you've got proponents saying this promotes global education equality, it helps independent research, and it preserves knowledge that might otherwise vanish. On the other hand, opponents are saying, whoa, hold on, this is large-scale copyright infringement. They argue it completely undermines the publishing industry and hurts authors financially. It is a deeply, deeply divisive issue, and you can find really passionate people on both sides of the fence.
And make no mistake, this isn't just some philosophical debate happening in a classroom. It's a full-blown global legal battle. Right now, internet service providers in major countries, we're talking the US, the UK, Italy, and more, have been ordered by courts to block access. This is what forces the archive deeper into the shadows, constantly hopping between alternative domains to stay alive.
But while this very public, very loud legal battle is raging on, there's another threat, a much deeper, much more technical threat lurking right inside the archive itself. It's a hidden vulnerability, something you could call the broken fingerprint.
And this brings up a really crucial question, right? Think about it. If your goal is to build a library for the future of humanity, how can you possibly guarantee that the information inside it is authentic? How can you be sure that you can actually trust it?
Well, the answer is supposed to be a tool called a hash function. The easiest way to think about it is like a unique digital fingerprint for any given file.
So when you download something, you can check its hash, its fingerprint, to make sure it's the real deal and hasn't been tampered with. And for years, a really common algorithm called MD5 has been used for this exact purpose.
But here's the fatal flaw. That fingerprint, it can be forged. The MD5 algorithm, the very tool that's supposed to guarantee trust, is fundamentally, completely broken.
Let me show you exactly what that means. Okay, so look here. We've got two different binary files. And if you look closely at the code, you can see they are definitely not identical. They contain different data.
And yet, when you run both of these completely different files through that MD5 algorithm, they produce the exact same digital fingerprint. This is what's known as a hash collision. And for a secure system, this should be pretty much impossible. It means the entire system of trust is completely compromised.
So, what does a broken fingerprint like this really mean for a library with millions and millions of documents? Well, it means the whole system of trust is broken. There is no reliable way to verify that a file is what it claims to be. The digital fingerprints can lie to you.
And this just throws the door wide open for something called a collision attack. Here's how it works. A bad actor could take a piece of malware and disguise it as a safe program. They could manipulate both files so they have the exact same MD5 hash. Then, they upload the malicious one to the archive. You come along, you download it, you check the hash, and it seems perfectly legitimate. But when you open that file, you're not getting the safe code you thought you were, you're getting the malware.
You know, what's really shocking about all this is that it isn't some new, groundbreaking discovery. Cybersecurity experts have been sounding the alarm on this for decades. I mean, get this. As far back as 2008, Carnegie Mellon's Software Engineering Institute officially declared MD5 cryptographically broken and unsuitable for further use. That was years ago. It's a known, documented vulnerability, and yet the algorithm is still out there being used. And this brings us right back to the heart of the whole issue. Look, the goal of Anna's archive is, without a doubt, incredibly noble, but its reliance on a broken system of trust creates this just devastating paradox. It leaves us with one final, haunting question. If you build a universal library for all of humanity, but you can't actually trust the books inside, then what have you really